So we'll begin the meditation. So please take your comfortable position in the sitting posture. Make yourself completely comfortable in the cross-legged sitting posture. Keep your hands lightly and in a relaxed way in your lap, keeping the fingers of both the hands crossed. Gently close your eyes and try to still yourself. Pay attention to your whole body and observe if there is any stiffness in the body, if any part of the body feels tight, then loosen it consciously. Pay attention to each part of the body from head to toe and completely relax your whole body. And now bring your gentle attention to your breathing and just watch your natural in-breath and out-breath. Watch the gentle flow of air into the body and out. As you focus on your breathing, the mind becomes quieter. The mind has something to hold on to, and it silences a bit. And when the mind has quietened down, it becomes easy to learn anything, to understand anything. Because if the mind is scattered, we cannot focus on anything. So now we have stilled our mind with the breath. Keep observing your natural breathing. And now bring your attention to your wisdom eye, to the agya chakra, the area in the middle part of the forehead, in between the eyebrows. So focus your all the attention on this wisdom center of the third eye. And you can maintain this attention on this wisdom center as we continue our contemplative meditation on the laws of the universe. And in these laws, we will learn about the law of impermanence. So in the last session, we had discussed about the law of impermanence, which says that nothing in this existence is fixed or permanent or stable, be it physical objects, bodies, the mind, the events. So everything, every phenomena in this existence is impermanent. Everything just arises, stays for some times, it persists, and then it passes off. So change is something that happens mandatorily in the creation. This is what we had learned in detail in the last session. And this is not a philosophy. We can observe it. It is observable across all things. All the physical objects change. The mountains erode, the stars are born and they die, and the bodies, our bodies, they appear and they disappear, they die. And the body is also constantly changing all the time. The cells are getting replaced every moment. There is movement, lot of movement in the body, even at the level of molecules, and various biochemical processes are continuously happening. So some change is continuously happening in the body also. And in the area of the mind also, everything is changing. The mind keeps changing. It is so dynamic. This psyche is never static. There is always fleeting things, like fleeting moods, fleeting emotions, sensations, thoughts, feelings. And they're all transient. They appear, they stay for some time, and then they disappear. And so everything in this universe, in this creation, is impermanent. It is constantly changing. We see that our relationships, they evolve, they keep changing. Cultures change, economies change, ideologies change, even civilizations, whole lot of civilizations, they all appear and they evolve, and then they finally collapse and disappear. So this has always been the rule in this creation. Nothing has ever been permanent in this creation. So today we'll discuss why it is useful to know this. Why should I know this law? What use can I put this law in my life? So actually, the knowledge of this law is very liberating. It brings great freedom. So freedom from what? It gives freedom from suffering. And how does this happen? It is because, every wisdom tradition, all the spiritual traditions, they say, and the spiritual teachers, they have found that all human suffering is because of attachment or clinging. It is because it is human nature to cling. It wants to make things permanent and stable and fixed. And this particular tendency of the human or human mind is the cause of suffering. Because if I am stuck with something that will change, by law, and if I say that no, I don't want change, I resist the change, then it shows that It shows that I'm not wise enough. It is just like trying to resist the flow of a massive river, because this whole creation is like a massive flow. So when we try to resist the flow of this massive creation, then it is not possible. That will be my stupidity. The flow will never stop. In fact, I will get hurt when I try to resist the flow. So, this is what is the cause of the human pain. And we as humans have many types of attachments. In fact, attachment itself is a very big topic. It's a huge topic to understand the wisdom from it. And there are many attachments, like we are attached to people, to relationships, to our beliefs and opinions also, and to the pleasures of the senses, the five senses. The five senses give us lot of pleasures, like the eyes, beautiful scenes, everything. The taste, the tongue wants pleasurable taste. Sounds, the ear wants pleasurable sounds. What type of sounds? Like words of appreciation. Everybody should approve me, everybody should praise me, you know. And we have attachment to objects, like my house, my belongings, my car, my wealth. So these are the belongings. And what happens is we avoid the unpleasurable sensations. We want to keep only the pleasurable sensations for the senses and want to avoid all the unpleasant sensations. But in this, we forget that the pleasures will not remain always, because there is a law. So they can always change. The pleasures may be there, they may go. There may be some different type of pleasure, or there may be unpleasant things. So when we forget this, and when all these things to which we are attached are lost, then there is so much of pain, there's so much of sadness. So when we know this law of impermanence, then we will be able to remove this belief that this should stay. We will remove the expectation that it should never change. Anything which I like should never change. So when this belief and this attitude is adopted, then the pain softens down. We understand that, okay, this was bound to happen. So fine, I'm okay with it, because my attachments, the pleasures are gone. It's fine, it was a rule, I cannot avoid it. So there is sort of acceptance, and we stop resisting it, we stop complaining, because this is a very uh, peculiar attitude of the human mind, that whenever something which is unpleasant, which is undesirable, that happens, then there is complaints, there is blames, and all these are the impurities in the mind. These are the impurities which prevent our happiness, as well as it prevents our spiritual evolution. So all these complaints, blame, sadness, pain, suffering, it softens down when we imbibe this law of impermanence. And we'll also notice that along with attachment, there is always a fear of losing, fear of losing those things that we are attached with. And although we haven't yet lost them, but it is so often, we so commonly experience that we live in the fear that this might change. And in this, how you can imagine how miserable a fearful life is, how binding it is. It is so much of bondage. You cannot live freely, you cannot enjoy when you are in constant fear of losing something or someone. So this knowledge of impermanence, it helps to release this fear, because since you cannot avoid the change, you accept it and you become ready to face the change whenever it comes, if it comes. So this attitude gives an immense freedom. And in fact, freedom from fear is the greatest freedom. You can imagine, if there is no fear, how light life feels. And when this fear is gone, then you can enjoy the present moment fully. Otherwise, we are constantly worried about what will happen if I lose this thing, lose this person, lose my wealth, or lose my image, or whatever, prestige. So when you release that fear, then every moment becomes enjoyable. And you know that this circumstance will change. So I don't mind it. I welcome the change because I know it will happen. I cannot stop the change. I cannot impose permanency. So what I can do, I will fully engage in life at this moment. And when change happens, then I also change my approach towards that new happening, towards that new change which has come in life. So this is how the knowledge of the impermanence makes you free from the attachments and fear. And this knowledge leads to more adaptability, more acceptance of life. And also, it helps to build great resilience, because when I know that bad times will also not last forever, and everything will pass, the bad times will also disappear. So law of impermanence, it ensures that neither the good times nor the bad times will last forever. They will not stay forever. So now this makes me very peaceful. This makes me free from worry, that whatever happens, let me see. जो होता है देखा जाएगा. आने दो. Why should I be worried? It will change. I know it will change. And when it will change, I will adopt a new approach to tackle that. So I am neither worried about the bad times nor I am attached to the good times. I'm not clinging to the good times. And this attitude is what is called as samabhav, samatvam, or equanimity. And it is a great achievement. It is a great ability of the mind. And this is a sign of a balanced mind, which is the character of a yogi's mind. A balanced mind is the mind of a yogi. So when someone achieves this, when someone tries to achieve this, that means there is very fast spiritual evolution. So whenever we understand this law, then we can handle difficult experiences, we can accept difficult experiences with the same emotion. All sorts of experiences like pain or some sickness, illness, some grief, or loss of something, loss of money, loss of people, loss of loved ones, or when we face failures in life. So then we develop an attitude of welcoming everything with a equanimous attitude. So in fact, the best thing is when we are free from this constant loop of change, when we are free from resisting this change, then only we can appreciate all the wonders of creation. Otherwise, we are totally lost. We think that this life is a burden. But when we come out of this mode and accept the impermanence, then we can see how wonderful, how awesome the creation is. Because whenever there is change, whenever there is impermanence, it actually makes the life very beautiful. You can imagine if the bud remains just a bud, if it doesn't bloom, there'll be no beauty. There'll be no beauty in the universe, in the creation. And like when there is bitterness, when you taste bitter, then only you can appreciate the sweetness. Whenever there is night, whenever there is darkness, then only you can appreciate how beautiful the light is or the sunlight is. Or when you have seen the light and sunlight, then only you can appreciate how beautiful without the sun the starry moonlit sky looks. So you can see the beauty of creation whenever you see that impermanence, because impermanence is beauty, it is life, it is creation. Without change, there is no creation, there is no experience. If there is no change, then there is no charm in life. This change, it is this change, this impermanence that makes life very entertaining, very beautiful. Because life is entertainment, actually it is entertainment. The purpose of life is this only. The purpose of life is not suffering and become anxious and becoming sick. The purpose of life is to live joyfully, and life is a play only. It is entertainment, it is leela. So nothing has to be taken seriously here. And you can just imagine, like, if there is a movie, suppose, where there are no changes, where the movie is like flat, there are only positive things happening, it is all goody goody, happy going things only, then it will be such a boring movie. No one would like what to see in this movie. There's no drama. But when the movie has all the roller coaster of changes, of all the different shades, when there is action, when there is drama, when there is hatred, when there is revenge, and all those things, when there's betrayal, then the opposite of those things are appreciated, and it makes life very engaging and worth living. So this is what, how the knowledge of this law of impermanence is. And another very important aspect of this knowledge is that when everything is changing, that means nothing is fixed. And now, when nothing is fixed, then there is magic. That means anything is possible. So, with change comes the infinite possibilities. So, this is what is the magic which can happen in life, because future is not fixed. So anything can change. We know the biological patterns, the psychological patterns, they can all be changed. And this is what is the basis for all the transformative processes, all those healing processes. This is the basis of the neuroplasticity ability of the mind. So this is a great power where when we discover that we have unlimited options, we have unlimited choices and unlimited possibilities. And this is again the highest freedom. When you have so many choices, when you have food with unlimited choices, then you can rejoice. There's such a great freedom. So, this law of impermanence actually indicates, it hints that you have unlimited possibilities in your life. So, whenever change comes, that means unlimited possibilities are presented to you. So, you can go ahead and create anything you like with those possibilities. And there is a most important aspect of this law, which is pertinent for the spiritual progress or spiritual evolution, is that when you understand that everything in this creation is impermanent, then it triggers a question that when everything is changing, is there anything that is not changing? Is there anything here which is permanent, or isn't there anything which is permanent? So, this is the contemplation which a person has to do. That is there anything that remains constant in all these changing experiences of this life, of this creation? So, I leave this contemplation to you. Try to think about it deeply, try to contemplate that, is there anything that is unchanging or permanent? And if there is, what is that? So it is so important that with the listening of the knowledge, the contemplation should be done, because then only you can imbibe the knowledge, then only you can uh, ascertain the truth of this knowledge. Because if I tell you and you believe it, then it's just a belief. If you want to find if it is true, then you have to think about it logically. And another thing, in the background of all this knowledge of the law of impermanence, we understood that the mind doesn't like impermanence. The mind wants to attach and doesn't want things to change. It wants the all the pleasurable things to remain permanent. So the question would arise, why is mind like this? What provokes the mind to cling to im, to cling to things, to attach to things? So this is because of the very peculiarity, a character of the mind. It is the nature of the mind that the mind the mind wants always certainty. Mind prefers permanence. Mind resists change. And all this is because the mind wants survival. This is the primary function of the mind, survival of the organism. Mind is built for this only purpose, that it is made for the survival of the organism, the body. So how does this impermanence is a threat for survival? So because the mind, what it does, it just experiences everything through the senses, and then out of that experiences it creates some meaning, that this is harmful, this is useful, this is comfortable, that is uncomfortable, and then from that it predicts outcomes so that it can minimize uncertainty. Mind doesn't want uncertainty, and impermanence means uncertainty. So the whole mind or the whole nervous system, in fact, resists this because it is a threat to survival. And also, attachment is a survival strategy. Keeping hold on to things like people, possessions, or identities, these help the mind to maintain itself, to maintain its survival. And the other thing is that change is a very energy consuming process. And this is very interesting because mind always prefers a low energy state because it always wants to conserve energy, because if more energy is conserved, that means it ensures better survival. So we know that brain is such an energy consuming organ, and the brain wants to run on the least amount of energy. The brain always prefers an autopilot mode. And when there is change, that means it has to develop new pathways, new habits. All this neuroplasticity, it is a highly energy consuming process. So the mind always resists change. It is very uncomfortable whenever there is change. And the most important, this is a very deeper core thing of impermanence, that deep inside, for the mind, impermanence means annihilation. That means death. So the deepest resistance of the mind is death, because death is the ultimate antagonist to survival. So whenever there is like loss of something, a job loss, or loss of, or the end of relationship, or if there is some illness or an aging body, then all these are sort of rehearsal of the end for the mind. So mortality is the ultimate impermanence, which the mind always resists. And this is the nature of the mind. There's nothing wrong in it. I mean, it is the work which the mind has been provided with, and it does it very efficiently. And it is our role to identify this quality of the mind. And when we say going beyond the mind, that means you identify that mind is up to all these things, the attachments, the unpleasantness of losing something, of impermanence. It is all the mind strategy. So when we identify that this is all the mind doing and it has nothing to do with my real self, then we go beyond the mind. And this is exactly what is evolution, what is spiritual evolution. So this is how understanding of this law, understanding of the nature of the mind helps us to go beyond the mind, because understanding is the most important thing. Unless you understand anything, you will not be able to conquer it. So this is was all about the law of impermanence. And I would like everyone to contemplate on this law, try to derive wisdom out of it, and you may get unique knowledge, unique revelation when you think deeply about this. And the most important thing which you may try to find, that when everything is changing, is there anything which is permanent? And what is it that is permanent? So try to find that, and you can comment, do that exercise. You can comment in the group or in the comments in the YouTube. So this is the end of today's contemplative meditation process. And those who want to continue, you may continue in this meditative posture for as long as you want. And those who want to come out of the meditation, then gently become aware of your surroundings. Wherever you're sitting in the room, gently become aware of your whole body. And now you can move your fingers, open your crossed hands, and slowly open your eyes. So, should we end today's session? Or is there something anyone wants to ask or say?